Hi guys, Ali Duzette here, and I've tried to make this video 2 other times so far, and both times I had kids come and interrupt me, and so I'm hoping that this time I can actually get through the whole video without that. But I've had this tab up on my screen for weeks now. I don't even know how long it's been up. It might just be 1 week or it might be more than that. But I really wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to share it really fast. It has to do with artificial intelligence. Okay. This is it. The name of it was Wednesday Morning Rant by Joe Mannix, an open blogger. And this article is called The Death of an Internet. And in this article, he talks about, here, I'll stop my own screen for a little minute. Okay, so he talks about the two different kinds of internet, how we have the industrial/commercial internet, like Zoom calls and buying and shopping stuff and selling stuff. And then the information internet, which is how we get the news, how we find out stuff and become informed about things, okay? How we learn about stuff. And so here he talks about censorship and how we can see how people are being censored. And he talks about how people have kind of shifted away from individual blogs. You know, like most people don't actually go to a blog or like to a news website to find the news. Most people get all of their news from big social media sites. And I know that's mostly true for me. I have a few blogs that I do check out on purpose, and I type their little name in to the top of my little bar and go and find their website. But most of the time when I am exposed to news, it's through Facebook. For my husband, it's Twitter, you know? That and for people, you know, probably younger than me, they're getting their news from TikTok, they're getting their news from Instagram. And so when we are relying on these social media sources for information, though, then we have to deal with the censorship issue and the suppression of wrongthink, you know. So I have a professional Facebook account, and I can see when my stuff is being suppressed, which is so interesting. So we're dealing with these social media giants kind of like snuffing out information as people release it. Oh, sorry. What I was saying was I have this professional Facebook account, and if I post something that they don't like, it's really interesting because now I know how many likes to expect per minute, and I can keep my eye on it, and I know how much to expect for a non-controversial post versus a more controversial post. And it's funny because my likes will start off normal and then they'll suddenly tank. And it's like, oh yeah, they put me at the top of the feed for the first like 30 people. And then they said, oh my gosh, what is this post saying? And then they like took it off the feed and people couldn't find it anymore. Which I will say, a lot of people think that they're being censored when really they write crappy content. I see this a lot. It is astonishing how many people don't realize that their content is lame. Like, no offense to anybody who has sat there and said, oh, it must be my algorithm. But people don't like being sold to. People know when you're trying to like use your social media platform to sell something and they don't like it. And so when you post a bunch of stuff about the stuff that you sell, of course your stuff's not going to get a lot of likes. It's not suppression. It's that nobody wants to click the like button and support that and get involved with that. So I feel very strongly about that. But even so, it's been interesting to notice, you know, when my likes go as normal and as expected and when they do not. But anyways, in this article, he argues that, I'm going to quote him, but censorship is not enough. Silencing dissent doesn't remove dissent, and silencing all dissenters is difficult. It will always be a leaky process, and all the algorithmic censorship and AI-based auto-silencers in the world will never fully snuff it out. Beyond censorship, killing the information internet also requires drowning out that which cannot be silenced. This is where disinformation comes into play. Disinformation will finish off what is left as the censorship regime stabilizes. Okay, so that was a key paragraph from that article that I showed you earlier. But he argues that because all dissent cannot be silenced and we can't just shut down all of the stories that the powers that be don't want out there. Instead, what is going to happen is the internet is going to be filled with lies. It's just going to be filled with lies. And now we'll have artificial intelligence that can do nothing but churn out false information all day long, so that it won't be a question anymore of, do you believe the mainstream story or do you believe the alternative story? There will be so many alternative stories that you won't even be able to parse through them all at all. You won't even be able to sort through it and get close to knowing what is true. If you can't flood it, basically, like if the option is between people believing like what they want you to believe, or like the alternative, they will just flood with so many alternatives that you won't know which alternative to believe. Let's see, how does he say it? He says, the signal to noise ratio on the information internet is collapsing, and the closer it gets to zero, the better for the bad guys. Controlling the flow of information to get everyone in agreement is difficult and maybe impossible. Poisoning the flow of information so that nobody knows anything is much, much easier, especially if you happen to control the outlets. With effective censorship and disinformation operations, they will achieve utter chaos in the information internet. Nobody will be able to rely on it, and fewer people will even try to make sense out of the poisonous fog of lies that permeates all corners of it. People will either shut up and tune out, or go to the sources of official lies that they are expected to know. The information internet will collapse under the weight. That's how that little article ends. So thank you to Joe Mannix, who wrote that. But man, I found that a few weeks ago, and I have been like mulling it over ever since. And I just think that is probably true. Censorship is great, you know, except that it fails sometimes, and those dissenters sneak through. But if you can just flood the information internet with who knows what, you just flood it with all sorts of disinformation, misinformation, alternative information, so that nobody knows what is true anymore, that will be very powerful. And that closing line, the information internet will collapse under the weight. So I've been thinking about that. I feel like we're on the cusp of, you know, the end of the world as we know it, which I've been talking about on this channel for a long time, because you know, of course, like the stars are saying that as well, but I don't know. I'm just really interested to see how it's going to play out. And I have a lot of friends that are very excited about AI and that use it a lot. I don't use it a lot. I do use it a little bit, but as do we all. I mean, like all of us do at this point, and we don't even know it. I think that we would be surprised to know the role AI is playing in things like choosing our the advertisements that they show on Facebook after you had one conversation, and then you start getting all of the, you know, the ads for the thing that you talked about, you know. I think that all of our lives are already being impacted to a large degree by AI, and it will only continue to be. But one of my friends cited somebody else who I can't remember who, but she said, sorry, let me remember it. Oh man, just all of the changes that have happened between the Industrial Revolution and now, AI makes that much change possible in this much time. You know, in 5 years, we like can't even comprehend how different the world will be 5 years from now because of artificial intelligence and all of the changes that it is just possible to bring forth just by doing its thing and however people choose to use it. So who even knows what will happen with it? I don't know, but I've had a lot on my mind about artificial intelligence. So I just finished watching Watcher Palmer's most recent 2 videos. One of them is called something like, please share this video or something. And then the other one is talking about AI and copying versus following. And they were good videos. He was talking about the risks of artificial intelligence and citing some sources that argue that in the book of Revelation in the Holy Bible, when but basically like there's some word choice in there that may indicate that people were generating images on behalf of the beast for people to worship. And he thought, oh man, maybe that's AI, if I understood it correctly. I was listening on double time while I was taking care of my kids. But I don't know. I was thinking about artificial intelligence in Doctrine and Covenants 93. Correct? Is that 93:36? Did I get that right? I don't know. But it says, the glory of God is intelligence. And now here we have artificial intelligence, which is like the most, I don't know. I mean, like we have intelligence and artificial intelligence, right? We have God and we have a fake God, you know? I don't know. I just think that we don't even know what we're in for with this. And I think that we do need to be prepared for the possibility of our situation going above and beyond censorship and suppression and entering into a stage of the mass, I mean, just a massive glut of false data, false information, false images, false claims. And you've probably heard of deep fakes, where they can like take images and like make them say whatever they want to say. You know, you can like take a picture of the president and make him say whatever you want to say, and then it's on video and it looks just like him and it sounds just like him, and what is true and what is not true. And I think that's going to be one of the big themes for the next, 20 years, because of Pluto's entrance into Aquarius, which deals with artificial intelligence and a revolution surrounding technology, which I've been talking about on here for over a year, so go watch old videos if you're interested in that. But I think that we're going to see a ramping up of that until I think it does make sense that eventually it would collapse under its own weight. And I don't know what that would look like, because we are so heavily dependent on the information internet right now. I mean, geez, I don't know. I was going to make this certain recipe tonight, and I'm planning to find it using my phone, and I think most people do that, most people rely so heavily on their electronics and on the internet and on the information internet. If it was all filled up with all sorts of weird fake stuff to the point that you couldn't tell what was true and not true, that's a disaster. And that's when people start tuning out. That's when they start turning things off and finding something else to do that they can trust, if they can find it, And so I think that all brings us right back to the importance of intuition and being able to trust the still small voice within your own self, the still small voice you hear within your own body that tells you what is true and what is not true, because we are entering into an age where it will be unfathomably difficult to know what is true and what is not true. And the only way that we are going to be able to move forward is by trusting our inner knowing. We're going to have to be sure that we are really on the same page with our divine source. We're going to have to make sure that we're living in alignment in such a way that we actually can get the answers that we need. And I'm looking under here because I have a copy of my book right here, Mastering Your Intuition, How to Get Answers from God and Your Soul. I wrote that. It's on Amazon. And I think it will be really helpful if you're a person that has trouble trusting yourself and trusting your own intuition. I wrote that book for you, so maybe it will be helpful to you. But man, we're in a weird time. And this is kind of like the quiet before. Pluto has entered Aquarius, and Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. Any minute now. I'm like pulling the transits. Let's take a little look-see. Okay, it's at 00 degrees of Aquarius and 21 minutes. Let's see. I think it goes back on July 11th, and then it goes back into Aquarius on like December 24th or something. So all of next year, and then the next 20 years, Pluto will be in Aquarius. But this year it's dancing between Capricorn and Aquarius. So we're going to see some big transformations around the economy and around technology And I think we're going to see the marriage of that, which of course, the marriage of that would be like cryptocurrency, digital currency, using the internet for commerce. I think we're going to see some big revolutions around that. And I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know the specifics, but we're just going to have to see for ourselves what happens. So anyway, thanks for listening. I really just wanted to talk about that article. It just seemed really important to me, and it's been sitting here on my screen for weeks or however long it has been. So thanks for indulging me. Thank you for being here. Man, I don't know. I guess we'll keep talking about this in the days to come. Be sure to head over to Facebook and hang out with me there if you want to. It's Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette is my Facebook group. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.